to learn about Google Lighthouse. Google Lighthouse is a tool that helps you figure out what's the SEO of your website, the speed of your website. It's really great when it comes to talking to nerds. For instance, you might know that your site is buggy or your site is slow. Um, in that case, that you could say something like, "Oh, well, I think the largest contentful paint's taking too long," and you could say, "I think like something like the first input delay is taking more than 100 milliseconds." So this really helps you put into words what can be wrong with your website. So without further ado, what we're going to do is we're going to double click. We're going to go into inspect. So this is called the developer tools. And we're going to head over to Lighthouse. Here, this is generate a Lighthouse report. We're going to look for performance, accessibility, best practices, SEO, and let us go with mobile. And we'll click over here, and then it'll give us a report. So, looks like I need to update my browser. So this gives you little facts. Just shows you how important it is for you to have a fast and performant website. Like for instance, if it takes longer than 2.5 seconds for your largest contentful paint or your largest item to load on a page, then people tend to go away. This is also telling you like if you're having images or videos, too many of them, especially if they're uncompressed, can make your site super slow. So if you want to know more about the importance of performance, then actually just sitting here and reading all of Google's helpful advice is great. Okay, so performance we have 67, accessibility we have 89, best practices 79, and SEO 92. So when we look at performance, our first contentful paint, that was 2.3. The largest was 3.8. This took a little bit too long. Same for this one. The total blocking time, 810 milliseconds, is too long. The cumulative layout shift, now like for this, if you see something that is shaking and that doesn't seem stable visually, that is usually related to the cumulative layout shift. And a speed index is 2.7. You want that number to be under 3, which is good. So when it comes to accessibility, accessibility are like making sure that your attributes have matched your roles, making sure that if you go over here, that the background foreground has a sufficient contrast ratio. What does that mean? You don't want to put a bunch of blues and purples together because it's really hard to distinguish different elements, especially if you are blind or you have impediment when it comes to sight. Links don't have discernible names. It's important for your links to be distinguishable. And we'll see what we passed here. So we passed the different roles. Let's see, buttons have accessible names. So whenever you're making a website, you want to make sure that all of your HTML elements like buttons and images have these alt attributes. Finally, best practices. This is super hard if you're a marketer. 50 cookies were found. Cookies are usually the analytics that you use to know what your users are doing. It's basically your analytics. So these are all the different analytics software or apps that you can find here. And the more of these you have, the slower the website. So you want to make sure that you don't have too many of these tracking links or that they are bundled together. And finally, you have SEO. Links do not have descriptive text. So the thing that happened about 4 or 5 years ago, if you want to get 100 in SEO, you probably already know this, you want to make sure that your accessibility score is high too. Because when you lose points on accessibility, you're also losing points on SEO. So that's one example. Another example here, it's really interesting to look at. This is um, a digital agency, and they tend to be the worst offenders because they tend to have these really beautiful and elaborate animations. For here, the performance is 45 um, because the largest contentful paint is 12.2 seconds when it's supposed to be 3. Um, it just takes too long for this to load. And if you look here, you can also see how you could fix this issue. Minify JavaScript that basically make it smaller, avoid excessive DOM size. That's making the website have less elements, less things moving around, and just having it smaller. Reduce unused JavaScript. A lot of programmers, when they're creating a website, there are just lots of bits of code that they're not using anymore. And when they keep those bits of code around, they make the site slower. Same with the unused CSS. And this means that the images in the next gen, it's not the most efficient format. We can keep going on and on. Best practices are pretty good. SEO, links are not crawlable. That is a problem. And what I want to show you is, this is for mobile, but if you look here, this is for desktop. And desktop actually has a higher score. So performance is 95, which means on a desktop, this is actually more performant, which makes sense because usually your desktop has, it's more of a powerful machine than mobile. And so that's why it's good to always test both of them. And here we have another digital marketing agency where we have 63, 79, 75, and 92, and you have this nice little circle, which it gives you all the information you need. So that is our trip in terms of like looking at what White Lighthouse does. And if you have any questions about performance or core vitals, I'll leave a comment down below, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.